Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We all make, and will make mistakes. The issue is not that we are, prone to err, to make mistakes. The problem is if we admit making mistakes and change our behavior in order to avoid in the future making the same mistakes. That's the whole goal. We might regret our mistakes, we might not regret our mistakes. Or we might say, yes, that was a mistake. Or we can say, no, there was not a mistake, even though you know it was a mistake. So, or maybe you will never realize it was a mistake, you're just going to live in denial. And no, there was not a mistake. No. Okay. I'm talking about certain kind of support that we sometimes throw behind individuals, causes, countries, entities, and so on. So sometimes we do this and because we thought that at that point that was the right thing to do. Or we assess that that's our interest, little interest, big interest, based on our values and principles. But after a while, you might discover that you threw your support behind something that was rotten. If you realize that and you say what I just said, well, that was a mistake, poor assessment. I didn't have all the information, obviously, I will never have it, but I guess I'm gonna just change. I'm gonna say, yeah, I was wrong there, and I'm gonna move on. I learned something out of that, I become better. This is what's gonna happen, I think, with people who support, for instance, Putin and people who support Zelensky, unless you think that Zelensky is perfect and he does make mistakes, and he's the one that is portrayed to be by the guys that support him for certain kind of interest. I am very concerned, not with me, but with what's going on in Ukraine with the purges. You can call them stuff, shuffling, changing, rotation and all. You can call it however. Remember, if in case someone is so easy in accepting that as, it's just a shuffling of the employees and just a structural thing, then you could and you don't think that could be a purge, or I don't know, security forces are used by one individual or a certain kind of interest to take care of certain kind of people and put their people in place. Then if you don't see that as a possibility, not probability, possibility, then you wouldn't see that in Russia as well when they change someone over there. And the mass media here in the United States of America claims that is Putin took care of him, or that's a purge or something like this. Then use the same, unless you think that guy is all bad and this guy is all good. I am very concerned that in Ukraine right now, based on the evidence I have from the articles and history, it's occurring a purge. That means it's some interest through Zelensky, who could be the one, but I don't think he's the one, replacing and putting people over certain kind of on the positions. And I've been watching this. That was like an order about 2 weeks ago when really got bad, intensified. Before, if you remember, they were arresting this and that and this and that because they cooperated and they were spies with Russia. I don't hear the Russians arresting Ukrainian spies somehow. Probably they took care of them before war. Is that what it is? That was the argument that will be provided, or another logical one. So anyway, this is so many collaborators with Russia. Just look since February 24th, how many of these guys arrested because they collaborated. Might be, I don't know. It's just weird that you hear it on that side, but you don't hear it on the other side. And usually you hear bad things that happen in Russia fast than this. But this is portrayed as, hey, we got them. I'm afraid this is going to be the same thing as Stalin did. And it's just my crazy assessment, or not even assessment. I have a bad feeling, and I'm entitled to have a bad feeling. So let's see what kind of articles or evidence I could have. Not to support that, but just skewed my little brain that I have. So this is Asia time, and this is from January 26, 2023. This is just when it seems like corruption purge, key towards outcome. So Zelensky started this corruption purge under the guise of corruption to show the Europeans that the weapons, the money, and everything else is just fine, and we can be European member state in a second. Actually, we could have been accepted yesterday. So they started this corruption purge. And now, I don't know how you know this purge usually occurs. Occurs that you have, don't think that Zelensky knows all these guys in corruption. There are other people who determine who's corrupt and who's not based on certain kind of standards and personal preferences, like Stalin, for instance. Stalin did not know 20 million people, or how big the purge was in Soviet Union at that time. He didn't know all the 20 million people to send them to gulags, executed, terrorized and so on. No, he knew just a few guys. That's all. And he took care of the ones that he knew. How many? 50? 100? I'm not minimizing his crime. So time out, hold your horses. Okay? Talking about something else. How many people do you know? How many people did you interact with in, that you know them by first name and last name and you interacted? 100? 200? What makes you think that Stalin interacted with more and knows them? So anyway, he wrote some little, said, I want this decree, and he sent his commissars, which in charge was Kaganovich and others of the NKVD, or NKVD, I think it was, which was the KGB after that, the secret police in this case, and those guys unleashed based on the whatever Stalin, the decree said, this is a criminal offense, this is, you're a criminal of the Soviet people, you are not terrorist, it was a traitor. So, and those guys went individually and they figured out who's who, what's what. And believe me, there were a lot of paybacks at individual level between neighbors. I work for NKDV, I want something from you, I'm going to come to your, like corruption, but straight to your face, because I have a gun, you don't, and I have this, and I'm actually in the NKVD. So what are you going to do? And I put you on the list. I come and say, you give me that, otherwise I put you on the list, I have the power. And I will be the witness that you said that you worked against the Soviet people, and you are a, supporter of the evil capitalist and system and so on. That's how it worked. You don't believe me? Read books. And I know you did. So one of them could be just the Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Nobel Prize laureate for literature, 1970, 71, defected Soviet Union, got United States. And then the United States did not want to have anything to do with him after they really looked into the whatever statements he started making, because he was talking things that you're not supposed to talk about. So anyway, forget that. So this is one thing that I'm afraid with the purges. Nobody can stop these guys, especially when there is a martial law instituted. That means the law is really limited. The process of determining what's right, what's wrong by a court, it's limited. You have less rights. You have, you know what I mean? So under these conditions, the purges occur legally, or let's put it this way. So I'm not saying he's killing these guys. No. I'm just afraid that this could be a trend, and the Western countries do not get agitated. Because sometimes they get agitated if, let's say, one person is, died in China for something, one person, and oh my God, the whole Chinese system is crap. These guys are just tyrants for one. Because they see the trend, they could see the trend, and that person is a certain kind of person. But here, nothing to see. But anyway, I don't see any alarm. So here, even from Asia Times, these guys see the key is the key towards the outcome. The same. Those guys are against the Soviet Union, the Soviet people. So the Ukrainian president, Zelensky, has announced a sweeping clear-out of senior national and regional government officials at the appointment of a new supervisory board for the state-owned natural gas giant. This is just one. There's a lot of one here. Great reconstruction. People have been accused, appointed, visible. They just public scandals. They switch. Bam, ba bam, ba bam. It's fine. I mean, if that works, that's fine. Now, let me see this new one. This comes from Telegraph. You have to use accredited sources so people don't say, oh my God, you use this and that. So the Telegraph must be true. So I have here a few articles that I have to go down and find them, because it's not too many things. So one I know is down here, which is right here. Zelensky continues purge. Purity purge. Remember the Iranian ethical, moral police? Remember that one? Okay. But this comes from the Telegraph. I'm surprised. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, I think they take it seriously. They don't do it like, Iranian morality police. The one that was disbanded about 2 months ago or a month ago because of what happened over there. But this guy knows it's purity. Yeah, well, the purity sounds very 1933, 1940, if you know what I mean. Purity. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he met with the defense and law enforcement representatives yesterday to discuss, and I'm quoting, the protection of institutions from any attempts from outside or, keyword, inside, to reduce their effectiveness and efficiency, end quote. So everything is for the good. In the name of the good, we have to, and remember what was the key here? Law enforcement and defense. The ones with ranks, if you know. An apparent reference to his ongoing efforts to crack down on corruption and collaborators within government bodies. Oh, how is corruption? I didn't think Ukraine was corrupt, because if it was, then why did the democratic, perfect countries of the world support the corrupt government? Only right now you figured out it's corrupted? Just overnight it became corrupted? When exactly did Ukraine become corrupted? So, you see, so it was corruption before, and this guy is a good guy and is going to take care of corruption. And collaborators. Yes, because there are a lot of collaborators. Somehow there are evil people among these guys that are collaborating with the enemy, who's bad. But I don't hear about Russians rounding up too many collaborators with the forces of good, which is Ukraine and the West. Is it because the people over there are just dumb, or what's going on? Now, the Security Service of Ukraine, you call this NKVD if you want, NKVD. Let's figure that out, let's clear it, because I'm using that term and all right, we got to settle. NKVD, all right? NKVD, People's Commissariat of Internal Affairs. So, yeah, let's go back to this whistle right here, right? So when I see here Security Services, NKVD, the State Bureau of Investigations and the Prosecutor General's Office have achieved significant results in protecting our country. So they're doing it for us. That's great. I'm pretty sure they're great. From those who worked for the aggressor state, end quote. He said in a nightly address on Saturday, there will be corresponding steps by the National Security and Defense Council continuing our line of defense of the state. So they defend us. The KGB was defending the Russians, and KVD was defending the Russians. CIA and FBI definitely defend us. And the same Mossad, and the same MI6, and the same Stasi, and others. He added that, and I'm quoting, the state will continue modernizing the institutions, their processes and procedures in order to guarantee the purity of state structure. So in the name of that, they will take care of us. Now, here is another Zelensky sacks top security official. All right, so he's just changing another guy because he was corrupted. Zelensky dismissed Ruslan Dzyuba as deputy commander of the National Guard, according to a brief decree issued by the presidential office. It did not give any reasons for the move. And then he said that he met defense and law enforcement officials and that he wanted to guarantee the purity of state institutions. All right? And the last one here is just not NKDV. An article from the New Voice of Ukraine. Zelensky dismisses deputy commander of National Guard responsible for logistics. That's what I said. Look how serious he is. Isn't he a clown? I think. Anyway, this is like my thumbnail for my videos. Anyway, man. Yeah, look down. Your forehead look bigger and your nose look, and then maybe you want it the other way around, so you don't. Anyway, so this is what happens, my friends, and I'm afraid a new purge will occur if it's ongoing, I think, and I don't see it ending very well. The problem is, after years, we are going to find out, I am 99.9% that this kind of things occurred in a situation, and the people who really did not see this, and on the contrary agreed and supported this, will not have the power to say, well, I was wrong, man. But it's okay. I will try to, get more knowledge next time. I don't think that's going to happen. The same thing as it happened with, it was a pandemic here. When you see certain people that you discussed during the pandemic, certain issues, and then after, and about, certain kind of things, and then after all this came down, some of them look like fools. The problem is you have the courage to improve yourself, or if you want to improve yourself. As I said, we all make mistakes, and the problem is you get better if you are willing to acknowledge that, work on how to change it, and then next time avoid making mistakes. You can make it again and again and again, but at least you try. Do your best. That's all you can do. I mean, you can't do more than that. So I'm afraid that what's going on with Zelensky, with the support of Ukraine, we're going to find about 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, what kind of atrocities occurred during all this thing on all sides, if you know what I mean. The problem is we can't control that. The only thing that we can control is us, our development. So just look at some trends. Maybe I'm a little bit with antennas too sensitive. If you touch them a little bit, I'm like, ugh. Why? Because I read about these things. I lived through not the purges, but to a system that you were very close to get there. Oh, I mean, they could knock at your door, grab you, get you out. No warrant, no nothing. I mean, here in the United States, warrant just makes it legal. But if they want a warrant, they get a warrant signed by a judge, all legal. The difference between those thugs and these thugs act with an appearance. Like, oh, we're all civilized and we follow the law. Over there was like, come over here, motherfucker, out. But the outcome is the same. And the whole procedure is just a pretense of civilization and the rule of law. And I'm very nice with the tie and glasses. The Hollywood does a good job, portraying me as very intelligent and hardworking and everything and suave. So half of the population will want to me and all that. But hey, don't blame me. Just look around it a few times. Go around the block more times. We all try to do that. It's not like I have a finite location where I know everything, but I'm pointing out whatever I see. If I'm pointing out that I was wrong and I'm going back and reassess things and say, yeah, I was wrong or I was incomplete. Yeah, I thank you very much for pointing it out. That increased my ability to think better, to have a different kind of assessment of life. Thank you very much. You helped me, actually. You are my free trainer. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.